Okay, let's go.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate this privilege, sir. And I deeply want to
Welcome.
apologize again for all the stress I took you through. I'm really sorry, sir.
No
Thank you
problem.
so much for believing in this vision. Thank you for believing in this platform. I know what you want. I know the platforms you get to appear on. I know what your brand wants, and I'm deeply indebted. I appreciate this privilege so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
The pleasure is mine.
Um,
Thank you so much for
Yes,
inviting me.
I want to do a brief introduction of myself and what I've been doing so far and what this brand is all about. So my name is Tmod Mowale. I'm a podcaster, and my vision is to document stories of young Nigerians that are doing great and have had success in their endeavor. We want to know their success story, especially I believe succeeding in Nigeria is a different race. It's a different race entirely, unlike succeeding in other developed countries where you have almost everything at your fingertip. That's why I go around and document stories of people that are doing great things like you are, sir. And I really want to appreciate this privilege once again, sir. One of the things that transformed my life is stories. While I was growing up, I didn't have anyone that was so much interested in me to see me become better, a better version of myself. Until when I started encountering stories, YouTube videos, books, I was seeing success stories of people, and that's really that inspired me. I saw stories of people that became something out of nothing, and it really gingered me, and it stirred me up to the point that I started preaching that gospel to others. I said I was going to tell you this. My final year project fee. I was so stirred up to the point that my project fee, I had to gather it and set up a physical conference in my finals, where I gather some people that know that they know this thing, because I know a lot of people are struggling like I was then. I'm discovering who they are and what they can do with their life. And I believe stories is part of the things we can use to lighten people's imagination, and help them become what they're supposed to become, sir. So my first question for you, sir, this morning will be about success. I want to hear your perspective about success. What is success? Because some of us that are young, we believe, okay, like what I'm doing, I believe when I become popular. Some people believe when they become popular in their craft, that is success. But some people are not popular and they are doing well and they are fulfilled. What will be your what is your own personal perspective about success, sir?
Thank you very much. Since your line of questioning and your introduction borders around achievements, especially career goals, I would define success in that light. As I see it, success is achieving a set goal for yourself. For example, if your goal is to wake up 6:30 every morning, exercise, and cook your meal, as simple as that sounds, that can be challenging for some people. But if your goal is to make sure that every morning when I wake up 6:30, I must wake up no matter what happens. If you wake up 6:30, you have succeeded. So success is simply achieving your set goal. Now, in the broader sense of things, it's always important. I tell young people this. Before you go on an adventure to conquer the world, before you start pursuing a career, before you start properly living as an adult, I always advise, set what success is to you so that you don't go around chasing shadows. And this is why. For some people, success is not about going to school and having a degree. Success to them might mean something else, like driving a big car, living in a big mansion. That may be success to some people. And if you have to go by people's definition of success for yourself, you might be chasing shadows and never get what you really want. So success is defining what is your own goal. Once you hit it, that's it. For some people, success in medicine is to get the degree so that they can help people who need medical attention to recover, to get well, or prevent diseases, or save lives. That's success. Somebody else, success to him is to get a medical degree so that he can travel abroad, so he can win awards, so that he can invent medical equipment, so that he can have the biggest hospital in your village or your country. No matter how many lives he has saved, he will not feel successful, because initially, in his mind, success for him, the goal is to have the biggest hospital in the village and win awards. Some other persons, no matter how many awards you give them, that doesn't define their success. They are not moved, they're not bothered. They might appreciate it, but it doesn't change much for them. Success for them means wake up in the morning with the skill of a doctor and save lives. That is success for them. So it's very important to define your goals before you set out to achieve them. What I see mostly happening to young people is that there's no deliberate intention to set goals. So people wake up in the morning, they think, oh, once I'm famous, I'm successful. Then they do anything to achieve the fame. Once they now get the fame, they now realize, oh, that you are famous doesn't necessarily mean people like you. You can be famous for the wrong reason. You can be very known and very much disliked. Then they now said, okay, let me make people like me. Then they might not get a lot of people to like them. They now discover, oh, just because people like me and I'm famous does not mean I'm going to have money. Nobody's just going to walk to me and give me a bag of money because, oh, you are famous and I like you, take my money. No, it doesn't always work that way. Then I have to think, okay, how can I now be? So they have to constantly be redefining their goals as they go along. And unfortunately, what that leads to is you make a lot of mistakes and you waste a lot of time doing things that really don't add up to what you could because you never set a goal in the first place.
Wow. We want to know, sir, about you, sir. We know you've been able to stay in your career in the entertainment industry for, I think, over 10 years, if I'm very correct, even if it's more than that. And that is something that is not very easy to do. It's a very competitive industry, and it's going to be a case study for us if you could help us share with us some of the principles that sustained you in that industry. How were you able to pass through? How were you able to remain relevant in your industry for over 10 years? What do you think you did different, or what did you think were the things you put in place to ensure that? And were you really intentional about that?
Okay, so this is it. I always have a goal and a plan for everything I do. I always ask myself a question before I set out to do something. To what end? Now, there's nothing wrong in not having any particular end in sight. Not having an end in sight or a goal in sight is also a goal. That I just want to do these things so that I won't have a goal. For example, people decide to, you sleep at night because you are tired. You sleep at night because you are tired, and the goal is to wake up in the morning. Why do you want to wake up in the morning? Why does just not wake up anymore? You might not have a reason to wake up in the morning, but everybody wants to wake up in the morning. We don't even think about that. Now, did I draft it out on a piece of paper? No, I didn't. But I had a mental note of what exactly I will be doing when I retire. I had a picture in my head, strongly painted, embedded there, of what I would not do. So, did I have a note? Did I have a plan? I did have a plan in my head. For example, I knew that I was going to make comedy sketches for a while, just basically entertaining people. Just in case there are people who are wondering, my friends call me Frank Donga, and I'm an edutainer, rather. So as an edutainer, what do? I try to pass messages with humor. That's my goal. The goal of most of the things I do. The overall goal is to educate people in a fun way. I love learning and I love to see people learn. So my intention is to teach people things or bring information in a fun way. Education doesn't have to be painful, doesn't have to be boring. So I'm an entertainer. Of course, I'm an actor and comedian. That's what it means, because those are the characteristics of me, the vehicle, trying to achieve a goal. So what is my goal? To entertain. That is the goal. It's written in my head, not on a piece of paper. It's who I am. Now, how I achieve that goal is by being in movies, making comedy sketches, directing, editing videos, writing educative stuff or edutainment stuff, producing shows. So there's an entertainment factor or value to what I do, but there's an educative angle to it. I did not have everything written on a piece of paper. There's nothing wrong with writing it on a piece of paper, but it's not my style. Because another reason is because I evaluate what I'm doing as I go along. There are certain things I was doing before, and I knew that I won't do this thing forever. There must be a time when I'm going to switch it up or change it to something else. You know why? We grow older every day. The things that matter to you when you are in primary one may not necessarily matter to you right now. In primary one, it was so important for you to have the best ruler in class, maybe the finest shoe in class. Right now, as an adult, all those things don't essentially matter in the grand scheme of things. Maybe they've evolved to other things. Now, people, instead of rulers, they want to have the best cars. Now they want to wear the most expensive clothes. Maybe that has changed. The underlying factor is still there. But what I'm trying to explain is that as you grow older, your preferences, your value systems might change slightly. Things you count important may change, over time, because you are getting older, you see life more, and you're not as passionate about certain things as you used to be before. So yes, it's important to constantly evaluate what you are doing as you go along. Why am I doing this? What results will it yield? Some of the things you are doing now have immediate results. Some of them have long-term results. For example, people might decide, I'm going to exercise every day and eat healthy. I'm going to eat fruits and vegetables, salads. I'm going to drink a lot of water. Why? The goal is so that I can extend my lifespan and live to a ripe old age in good health. Some people right now, they are eating also, but it's not that deep for them. They just want to eat and have fun. So they drink a lot of liquids that can destroy their liver and their kidney. They inhale a lot of substances that can take over their minds and make them do things that they probably should not be doing or don't want to do. They go to places that can expose them to danger. They're living for the now. That's a decision they're making. Understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So over time, it's important for one to redefine, okay, what is the end in this? Those people that do that may not necessarily be thinking, what is the end goal? They don't care. Maybe it's just now, have fun now, enjoy yourself now. And those are the things they've defined as enjoyment. Unfortunately, everything you do now defines your tomorrow, because your today was defined by the decisions of yesterday. So your tomorrow will be defined by the decisions of today. You can't run away from that. This decision that we have made to be on this live Zoom interview together is going to define something in the future. We may not know it yet, but it is going to define something in the future. It might be somebody watching this clip that's going to make a life change because of what they've heard. It might inspire somebody to do something. It might add something to you and add something to me. So we can't accurately predict it now, but it's going to define something about us in the future. There's always something that adds up. So yes, I did have a plan of what I was going to be doing and what I would not do. For example, there are so many skills and talents that I could express, but I knew I was not going to do it at the same time. I wanted to do one for a bit, then add another one, then reduce one, and then add another one, then expose myself to this, then do this one more. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I had a picture of it. The intrinsic details were not written down on a piece of paper, because for me, for how I am, I didn't need that in particular. But so for that person, they might need it. But it's always important to know before you set out on a journey what you would not do and what you would do. And then also to ask yourself the question, why am I doing this? Like I said, success is achieving a set goal. If you don't set any goal, you will never be happy, because you won't know if you have achieved success or not. That's the danger. Why do I want to go to my friend's house? I want to go to my friend's house because he's ill, he's not feeling fine, he's been sad, and I want to go to make him happy. So if you go to your friend's house and you are talking to him and he laughs and he's happy and he says, thank you for coming, because now I'm so happy. You have achieved success. Another person's goal is, I want to go and visit my friend because it's been a while that I saw him or her, and they cook a lot in their family. I will eat to my heart's satisfaction if I get to their house. Free food. That's good. When you get to your friend's house and they offer you food and you eat to your heart's satisfaction, that is success, because the goal has been achieved. But if the person who wants to make his friend happy because the friend is ill ends up eating all the beautiful food in that friend's house and the friend is not happy, that person will say, I've not succeeded. But the other person who only thinks about food when he goes visiting people say, my friend, you have succeeded. Look at all the food they offered you. You say, no, my mission here was not to come and eat. It was to make my friend happy. Flip it around. The other person that wanted to come and eat, if he gets there and he's cracking jokes and everybody's laughing and they are all happy that he came or she came, the person will not feel successful, because the goal was to come here and eat to your heart satisfaction. But now everybody is laughing and happy and they say, thanks for coming. No food. The person will not feel successful. So that is why it's always good to define, what do I want to achieve with this thing I'm doing? And be very honest to yourself when you're doing it. So in my case, I didn't write it down on a piece of paper, but I had it written down in my mind. I knew exactly where I wanted to see myself with this thing. This is a journey. Okay, what can I do after this? Okay, when I'm done doing this, what else can it add to? How does it prepare me for the next step? It's always important so that you don't get stuck in the middle of the journey and realize, okay, I've achieved it, so what next? And that is a dangerous place to be for a creative person, because At that point, people now feel that they are dead inside because there's nothing to aspire for anymore.
Yes, sir. When did you become so aware of yourself like this? I like asking this kind of question because I think to me and some of my friends that we're very close, that we are trying to achieve a lot of this currently. We're always like, we wish we have known all of this early, probably while we're in our school, because what they told us when we were going to school was to come out with a good grade, which is probably not having a value in this current economy again. And we felt like probably if they have told us to find ourselves while we are going to school, find our skill, what we are good at, and develop it, probably we will come out and will have been better than we are currently now. So what determined or what were the factors for you that made you so aware? Of course, it's obvious you are sounding like someone that discovered what you're supposed to be doing probably early enough, because it's like you have everything planned. That currently some of us are just like, we should just have a breakthrough now. We are not thinking of the future, how long we want to stay. We are just thinking, I just want to have this breakthrough. They should just know that I'm doing this thing currently. And most times when we have that breakthrough, it's another challenge entirely. We are like, oh, they know me now, I need to sustain it. Like you said earlier, that we now seeing problems, we start seeing problems. Oh, I'm popular, they don't know me. Because some of us didn't have the opportunity to sit down, okay, I'm going to entertainment industry. If I blow today, this and this, what were the factors for you that determined how early you became aware of what you want to do with your life?
So there are things you said that have sparked three responses in my head, and I hope I can cover those three responses. I know you asked a single question: how and when did I become so aware of myself? Because I sound like I'm very conscious of deliberate. So let me first of all correct some things in my own perspective. You mentioned that a lot of young people nowadays just want to be famous now. They don't think of it's just now. Let me have a breakthrough now. Well, unfortunately, a lot of people live for now without really defining who they are and what makes them them. I'm saying that because it's going to be an endless rat race, a cycle. That's why you have a lot of people that are stuck in the loop. Some people will say you're stuck in the matrix. They're not really living. A lot of people now live for validation on social media. Your aim is, let me just be famous now. And to them, fame means a lot of blogs are posting my content. A lot of people are subscribing to my YouTube channel. A lot of people are giving me likes. It's not like an addiction. It's like a drug. People now get high on likes and subscription. So they are addicted to it. It controls them. They will do anything for likes, for attention, for social media buzz. It's their adrenaline. And it's a loop that if they don't get off, it might eventually destroy them. Because that can be very addictive. It's as potent as stimulants, as chemical stimulants that people get addicted to. It's as potent. Because this one now, the unfortunate part is you can't withdraw it from people easily because you can't touch it. If somebody is an alcoholic, they can go for therapy. You can restrict them from alcoholic beverages. If somebody is addicted to hard drugs, you can take away the drugs from them and put them in rehabilitation. But somebody is addicted to social media attention. The best you can do is take their phones away from them. But it's subtle. And unfortunately, even a lot of very quote unquote successful people have this addiction. So it's very difficult to define. You have to be very honest with yourself to get to that stage. So that is one thing I've observed about young people these days. And unfortunately, I know very few mentors and role models that will tell you those kind of things. So I also see a gap. Young people are falling into that ditch one after the other because the people in front of them are also falling into it. So there's nobody to warn anybody at the back. Everybody's so focused on it. And people get to the edge of that thing and they fall inside. Because they never stop to say, this thing I'm about to enter. And you boys, look, there's ditch here. And the people behind don't even want to hear anything like ditch. My own is, let me fall inside first. I will solve it when I get there. Nobody's coming. So it's like, you don't know. It's sad. It's a dark hole. And people are falling into it day and night. The result is not all manifesting now. In the next 10, 20 years, you will see a very significant effect of what we're doing now. The holes we're digging in our minds, in our society. And you know what is causing it? The shift in moral values. Now, people are defined by how much wealth or financial resources that is at their disposal. I said at their disposal. I didn't say that they are created. At their disposal, I mean that they have access to, whether it is their own, government own, people's own. community's own. It doesn't matter. It's at their disposal and they are squandering it to look like they are successful. But of course, this is where the thing is now complicated. You can only look successful showing off your money or your wealth to somebody who defines success as having those things. You cannot harass Usain Bolt with your ability to draw. Why? Usain Bolt is a sprinter. He's a sportsman. To him, success is not, wow, I can draw a picture. Yes, I'm more successful than you. He doesn't define success by drawing. He defines his own success by breaking 100 meters world record. Chikina, if you are not breaking that record to him, you are not impressing him in that career because that is not his focus. You see where I'm going? Society has now been warped in the direction where everybody or a large majority of people are defining success by only one thing. How much money do you have? How much access do you have to flashy and luxury in your life? Flashy things and luxurious lifestyle. And the more we fall into that hole, that ditch I mentioned, nobody is warning anybody at the back. Guess what? The people that have touched that luxury and flashy things and they fall into the hole, they now see what is at the bottom of the hole that is just dark, deep, and empty. Those things just eventually don't guarantee joy or fulfillment. But they're not warning the people at the back. Guess what? The people at the back don't even want to be warned. Everybody wants to fall into their personal hole and find out for themselves. Now, why does this happen? Let's blame. You are saying young people, you wish you had people to tell you all these things when you were younger. Maybe you would have found yourself earlier.
Yes.
Of course, I don't blame you. I don't blame young people because it's a system. There's something that is missing in the system. Mentorship, guidance, and counseling in schools. When I was in secondary school, we had a whole human being, a professional, trained in guidance and counseling in school. Like you could tap to, the person will look at your grades and advise you, ask you questions, find out if there's something from home that is bothering you, find out why you're not doing well in your class, in your subjects, find out what your skills and ability and potentials are, and advise you accordingly, and probably put you on a program to help you explore those things. Those things are missing now. People don't do it anymore. People take counseling from social media or a random. People that don't even understand you, they don't know you, they're not aware of your strengths, your potentials, your weaknesses. They are the people that people are following now. People are just trying to copy a quote and unquote working formula. There's no working formula that fits all. The jack that lifts the pump that pumps a bicycle tire may not pump a trailer tire. So going to your neighbor to collect his bicycle pump just because she be my neighbor pump tire. Now we just use the same pump. Now the same formula I go work. Now carry it to a trailer. You're now wondering why are we struggling so hard? Because it wasn't designed for that. Flip it around. The pumping machine that pumped a trailer tire with this, at the same rate and pressure, if you apply it to bicycle tire and with the same length of time, you will destroy that tire. And a lot of people are getting destroyed because they are feeding on stuff that is not built for their system. It's not right for their system. People are just copying. What did you do to succeed? Let me try it. And everybody is running from pillar to post, copying success formulas, not really defining success principles. It's
success principles.
Yeah, it's not a formula. It's not don't just copy and paste the formula because there are factors and conditions that make that formula work. Just because somebody lit a candle, somebody struck a match and the matchstick is burning, does not mean you can do it in every circumstance. Somebody is asking me, what circumstance will that not work? Go to space now where there's no oxygen. Strike a match, nothing will happen. Why? There's no oxygen to support the combustion. Why do I know this? I know the principle of combustion. Oxygen is needed when you strike a match for combustion to take place to create that incandescent light. If you don't have the factor. So the first question you ask yourself is, am I in the same environment with this person? Somebody in music wants to copy the exact template somebody in art copied, or somebody in acting, or somebody in economics, or somebody in banking copied. The environmental factors are different. You can only copy the principle. If you can identify the principle, that is. If you can't identify it, it's the same problem. So why is all this happening? Lack of guidance and counseling for young people. So the only thing they're exposed to is that you just get wealthy. And remember the first thing I said, nobody's really defining what success is for themselves. Everybody's copying what they think success is. So they think success is having a house in Lekki or in Abuja or Port Harcourt, fancy cars, a lot of money in your bank account, irrespective of how you got it, just have it or have access to it. And that's why a lot of people are being misled. They didn't define the success for themselves. They are copying what is success is by society standards. And who is society? You, I, and your neighbor, my neighbor. We all make up the society. And that is why you can't follow bandwagon. So now, young people need to understand the place of counseling and self-awareness. I'm happy you already know that and you're asking that question. So that is the missing thing. Those are the 3 areas I was talking about, So the last one is that it's not the fault of the young people because they were never exposed to this counseling. They didn't get the opportunity. But now, why didn't they get the opportunity? Why were they not exposed? In my time, I spoke about guardian and counselor, a guardian and a counselor expert, a teacher in that role in school. Now we probably don't have that. I don't know how many people are voluntarily going to school to study guidance and counseling. Maybe not a lot.
Yeah.
Because why? We have defined success by money. Just money. Money can be one of the indices of success. Yeah, money is actually important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying money is not important. You need to pay your bills. You need to feed. You need to live well. And it costs money. All right? Mm-hmm. But we have defined success by only one thing, money. Money should be a reward for solving problems.
Yes, sir.
The richest people in the world today, they didn't become rich. The richest recognized people with sustainable wealth in the world today, they didn't get to that position because they were robbing people. At least not technical, not obviously with guns. They were not robbing. They were not standing on the highway. Okay, how many people do you want to rob on the highway with gun? Maybe if you are lucky, you hit 1 or 2 billion rounds. That's before they gun you down. Then anybody does that before they gun that person down. You are lucky. Nobody keeps the money of all the people in the world in one location. It's in people's hands. Mm. Unfortunately, the richest vault in the world with the most amount of money is a vault in your mind. A vault in your mind. It should be so rich that it contains all the ideas that can be turned into wealth. And you can dictate how you release it and convert it to it. The richest bank in the world is not any first generation or second generation bank in Nigeria. The richest bank in the world should be the bank of your ideas.
Wow.
So the richest people in the world, talk about the Zuckerbergs, the Bill Gates, the Warren Buffetts of this world. If you go to what they are, the richest companies, if you go to what the people have created things that everybody wanted or needed, that you must pass through them.
Everybody wanted or needed.
Yeah. And when I say everybody, not necessarily everybody in the world, don't start thinking to yourself that I need to create something for 6 billion people in the world. No. If you live in a community of 20,000 people, if you can find something that 10,000 of them need regularly and they will always need, you're already a made man. Let me give you a very simple example. How many people live in Nigeria? Roughly 200 million estimated. That's the statistics we hear every now and then. Out of them, maybe 20 million live in Lagos. Roughly 20, 30 million. Let's say 20 million live in Lagos. And you live in Lagos. Okay, no problem. You don't live everywhere in Lagos. You live in a particular location in Lagos, all right? That location where you live in Lagos, let's just say a physical location, for example. How many people live in that neighborhood? Maybe 1 million. Okay. If you sell food, out of that 1 million, everybody has to eat every day. If you sell some kind of thing that people can eat, that will nourish their bodies and keep them healthy and alive. If you sell something like that or produce it, for the 1 million people in that neighborhood, you don't even need all of them. Let's say you can sell it for 5,000 of them every day. 5,000 of them buy it from your hand at 100 naira each. 100 times 5,000, rough estimate. I don't know how much is that. Is that 5 million or 50?
Yeah.
So 5,000 is 1, 2, 3,
nice.
Then 100, 1, 2. Is that? So we have 3 plus 2 zeros. That's 5 zeros. That's 50,000.
Yeah, 50,000.
So you can be making 50,000 every day. If you sell something of 100 naira to 5,000 people, or you sell something of 5,000 naira to 100 people every day. The matter all people. I'm not creating something new. This analogy is very common. People say it. What I'm trying to bring out here is that you don't necessarily need 200 million people living in Nigeria. The 200 million people living in Nigeria don't need to know you. They don't need to like you. Some of the most financially secure people I know personally in Nigeria today, you can't know their name if I mention them. They are not even public figures because their career does not involve everybody knowing them. Their career involves producing what everybody needs to eat. So even the public figure needs what they are producing to stay alive. But nobody calls them. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
Fame is not equal to success. Fame is not always equal to financial independence. No, they are two different things. I know people who import spark plugs. Without a spark plug, your generator cannot work. Without a spark plug, it cannot function. Without a spark plug, so many machines will not work. There are people who import those passports. Guess what? The man that started the business in his family, he doesn't even go to work anymore. Now he has children. They know when to make the order from China or Japan. They know when to pay import duty. They know when to send the truck to the warehouse. They control everything from their phones, from the comfort of their houses, and they supervise. They have employed people to do it. The guy that started that idea, he doesn't even need to go out every morning, every month. He just calls his supplier in China. He pays money to Nigerian customs and the shipper. They ship it to Nigeria. He pays taxes. They do that. He sells it. Retailers are already waiting to collect it because everybody needs a spark plug for their gen to work, for their cars to run well.
Wow.
So those guys, nobody will know their name, but if you know what they're turning over every month, you'll be scared. You'll be shocked, rather. Now, we've established the fact that it's not the fault of the young people. Counseling, guidance, mentorship is lacking. And of course, it's because society doesn't care about that anymore, because our value system has changed. That is why. So parents now need to compulsorily, whether they like it or not, struggle to work extra hard. Back in the past, probably one parent worked, one stayed at home. Now, the two parents have to fire on all cylinders. Throttle down, because now the demands are higher. You can't afford to stay in a rented apartment and raise your kids in one room rented apartment, because your neighbors will laugh at you. Society will mock you. Your family self will mock you. And guess what? Even the landlord that owns the apartment will probably triple or quadruple the rent lifespan of that your plan. So you can't even afford to, because now the society is money driven. I know people, up to about 5-10 years ago, I still heard of landlords who had never increased house rent for 10 years when a tenant was in their house, because they didn't need it. What they were getting from rent was enough, and they probably had other investments. So there was no pressure. But right now, nobody cares. Now, value system has changed, because then the value system was that, anybody you can help in this life, do. That's your brother. There are sayings in every local language. Whether you can help is your brother. They said blood is thicker than water, or there's a friend that sticks closer than a brother. So many positive sayings that will make humanity worth it. But right now, humanity is thrown to the dogs. Everybody thinks, live for myself. That's the motto of every human being now. Live for myself, to hell with you. I don't care if you die, as long as I'm fine. Young people now, there's a gap in mentorship and counseling from school, because society's value system has changed. Everybody's not chasing money. Just one aspect of success is defining every aspect of success now. So people now entirely define success as access to unlimited amounts of cash that even you cannot spend in your lifetime. Big houses, the bigger the better. So now, the more the merrier in terms of acquiring. So people acquire what they can't even exhaust in their lifetime. They are even so eager to acquire other people's source of means of survival. As a leader, as a politician, as a religious leader, people are now always about money, money, money. They praise people with money. They commend people with money. They give them unnecessary, sometimes undue or unmerited titles, recognition. The pressure is so much on young people these days. The only way to reverse that is for society to redefine its value system. And you can only do that with conscious effort to define what success is and what we praise as success. In the past, if you scored straight A's in your WAEC, you are successful at that stage, and people will praise you. The school will give you prize. People will admire you in your community. Now, if you score A, you score it for your family. In fact, you don't even score it for your family. In fact, some parents don't care anymore if you score A. I've heard things like, young people have told me their father told them, you should be taking care of me now. Is it not your mate that are doing Yahoo? Adults are brazenly endorsing fraud and saying, get it by all means. So young people imagine somebody born into that system. He doesn't even know there's anything different. And people like us still have some sort of value system that we grew up with. So we can even imagine, this is not supposed to be, this is not right. But human beings can be conditioned. That's the danger. People don't celebrate originality. It's just, no matter how crooked you are, no matter how base you are as an individual, no matter how immoral or obscene things you do are, that's why people kidnap for money. And they still flaunt the money to the families of people they've kidnapped. And nobody asks questions. So the value system has shifted to the negative. So until we fix that, it's going to be a problem. And we're only digging a bigger grave for the future. And why are young people exposed today? I told you, guidance counseling is missing in schools. So people are now doing things that they feel will get them jobs. Not really studying things that will set them on the course of their life, the journey of their life. Not everybody is going to be a mathematician, a professor, an architect, a doctor, an engineer. The job of a guardian and counselor expert is guardian and counseling expert is to look at you and help you make a decision based on your natural abilities or potential to maximize how you are created. So now, was I so aware of myself when I was young? Just like any other young Nigerian kid, I had different opinions and aspirations myself. But in all, I think my family values helped me a lot. I was born into a family of teachers. Both my parents are teachers, they're still alive and still very much, active, but they are retired now. So I had that background. And of course, I was born into a Christian home, very, spiritual. So my faith also helped me to define what, ultimately matters and help to build in me the value system that has kept me up to today. There have been storms, there have been challenges, no denying that. But at the background, at the baseline, at the foundation of it all, those things have kept me up to today. They've kept me to define what kind of things I will say and do, where I will go, and the kind of content I will create, and the kind of affiliations and associations I will celebrate, or rewards that I will accept or pursue. Intrinsically, those things are tied together. Oh. So that is it for me. I wasn't always this aware or clear about where I was going, but the value system that I was raised with and that I accepted too, because it's one thing for you to be raised with a set of value system. It's another thing for you to grow up and decide I want to turn away from it. You can't. You're a free moral agent. So the value system I was exposed to from home, from my parents and my family, and church and friends and my immediate community and my schools that I attended, because I was one, like any normal kid, don't move with bad boys. So I could have decided to join back then from primary school, secondary school, and even university when the parents is there to supervise you 24 hours. You could have decided to join associations that will end your life or participate in activities that will endanger your life or those of others. You could have made that decision, but I chose, to evaluate what I was doing based on where I see myself going. So that also I'm grateful for. Sometimes it's not just automatic. I believe in the divine. I believe there's a higher power that oversees or supervises or watches what we do. And we can tap into that higher power to ask for help. I believe in God, and I believe that God can give you help when you ask. There's support, there's emotional support. And this is something, I know the world is in a direction where nobody wants to talk about God anymore. Throw it out of it. It's not archaic, it's not cool, it's not fanciful, there's no vibe. There's no vibe there. It's not, nobody cares about that. It's your opinion. Shove it down your throat. Don't let anybody hear about it. In fact, it can be embarrassing if you identify with faith or God. But not for me. I don't have to throw it at your face. Those are things I live by. And if you find those values or qualities admirable, then I share with you how I'm doing it and how it has affected me. Hopefully, it can affect you too. That's what I live by.